Hi fellow readers, today I'm delighted to have the chance to tell you about a really brilliant series um, which is called the Dreg City Series by Kelly Medding. So far there's been 3 books and I absolutely love them. They're near perfect for me just because they're just so interesting, exciting, action-packed, but it's full of heart and emotion as well, and it has most kind of interesting plots. Never drags, and the pace is really good, and fast, and there's amazing character development in this series with brilliant characters. Like, the author created a really kind of tough and troubled world, but like there's kind of like damaged yet interesting characters in that world. So like the premise is what first dragged me because it's so just new and fresh and brilliant. So the initial premise is this girl called Evangeline Stone. She's 22 and she wakes up one day in someone else's body lying on a table in a morgue. So she's no idea what happened. She can't remember how she ended up in this other person's body, and she can't remember how she died herself, because when she died she was brought back into this person's body, and she only has 3 days to solve this big mystery about how she died and who's behind it all. And at the beginning of each chapter there's like a countdown of how many hours she has left. So it starts off with 72 hours and it counts down, so you're constantly kind of on edge because her time is running out. And it's so brilliant. And then I was pleasantly surprised that there was going to be a second book, because when you first hear the premise you think, oh, it's probably a one-off, but there was a second book and it was equally brilliant. And again, there's kind of like another kind of countdown in the second book. And then I thought the third one, which was just out at the beginning of August, and I finished it about yesterday, I was worried it wouldn't be as good as the first 2. But I think it's the best book now in the whole series. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. So, in this book, really, there is Dreg City is kind of the city they live in, and there's a triad of kind of hunters, and they go out and they find monsters in the city, and they basically kill them. And they always work in 3s, and then they have a handler who kind of tells them where to go. So they fight vampires and these kind of these things called halfies, which if a vampire bites a human, their saliva causes them to turn into kind of like a vampire kind of hybrid, which are kind of more dangerous and more evil than vampires. And there's kind of goblins, which are really evil creatures too. So it's kind of a dark world, and Evie, the main character, she's really tough and kind of hard and sometimes maybe too argumentative, because she's a really short temper. But that's kind of her personality, and deep down she kind of has this really kind of vulnerable, sweet quality to her too. She makes her a really likeable main character, and you kind of root for her the whole way through because she goes through so much heartache. Yeah, so I mean, the series is brilliant and really recommend it. It's really good. I suggest you check it out. I find that the plots are complex enough without being overly complicated, which is kind of just about the level you want. So yeah, I was really pleased with the series. The only major negative I have, and this may be a little spoiler, so if you don't want to know, like, block your ears or something, but I mean, it happens pretty early on in the books. You find out fairly quickly. But Evie, the main character, after she wakes up, she has kind of a healing ability. So when she gets cut, in a couple of minutes, her cut will heal up. With major kind of injuries then, it may take a few hours. So I don't like this kind of super healing ability thing in main characters, just because it takes away that sense of danger. Because when they're in kind of a serious situation where they could die, it's not, you don't have the same sense of, oh my god, what if she gets stabbed, because if she does get stabbed, she'll just heal. So that kind of takes away that element. But I understand why the author did it, because if she didn't have the healing ability, she would have died fairly early on in the series. Yeah, but I mean, I do appreciate as well that the author still gives that vulnerability to Evie, even though it means she can't die as easily. But yeah, that was just my little kind of grievance with it. Besides that, I mean, they're pretty good, and they have brilliant kind of twists and reveals, things you don't see coming, you know, constantly surprising you, you know, not predictable. So yeah, I really enjoyed them. So please go and check them out. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a more spoilerish review. So if you don't want to know any details or spoilers about the series, I suggest you switch off now. Quick, press the button. Okay, so as I said, I really liked Evie, and my God, she does go through some pain and heartache in this series. And when I found out about, you know, how she died, how she was like raped and tortured, it was so awful. And I'm really glad how the author didn't like gloss over that, and we really got to see the after effects of that. And like, she didn't get over it fairly quickly, which is good. And the only thing, you know, in the third book when she's tortured again, the poor girl, I wish we would have seen more of the after effects and after that, like we did with the first time. But we didn't really. It just, the book ended, and I wanted to go like a little bit further to see what happened. You know, after her and Wyatt kind of reunited, I wanted to see a little bit more and to see the after effects. Maybe we'll see it in the next book, I don't know. I really liked the contrasting looks the author decided to give to Evie, like in her old self pre-death. Like, she was quite thin, small, you know, with blonde hair and blue eyes, and then her kind of new self, the Chalice Frost one, she was like, you know, curvy, a bit taller, wavy dark hair and dark eyes. So it was nice contrasting, so you could really imagine them in your head while they were doing like flashbacks or whatever. And I really like those flashbacks too, like you know, to get insight into Evie's life as a, you know, as a part of a triad, and her relationship with Wyatt. Wyatt was really likeable too, I felt. I loved the author's descriptions of his kind of non-verbal reactions. You could really tell, like, Evie was brilliant at picking up like his emotions and how he felt about her, and I loved the scenes between Evie and Wyatt, and their dialogue was brilliant. Evie's constant questioning of her feelings for Wyatt were a bit tiring at the beginning. But I'm really glad then by the third book she realised she was just totally in love. Maybe by the end of the second book, she was totally in love with Wyatt, and they had some really nice, sweet romantic scenes in the third book. And it was so sad when they had to separate, and he thought she was dead, and then he found out she was alive. That's kind of the theme of the books, really. I just reread the books last week just to get just, you know, to remind myself what happened in the first two before I read the third one. I liked Phineas even more the second time round. Yeah, he's quite a nice, interesting character. I'm really glad the author didn't decide to make it a full-on love triangle between Wyatt, Evie and Phineas. But we still get to see Finn's affection for Evie, which I like, and I like the development of that too. Like, they're good friends now. I really missed Eileen from the third book. She wasn't in it at all. And I really liked her and Evie's developed relationship. Like, they kind of started off as enemies, and then Evie started to realise, wait on a second, these aren't, like, these shifters and Arthurians and these vampires, they're not as evil as I thought. And her and Eileen kind of had this kind of friendship going, as they weren't overly affectionate with each other. But I mean, I do think Eileen cared whether Evie died and vice versa. So I was really sad that she wasn't in the third book, and maybe she'll be in the fourth one. The fourth book is called The Wrong Side of the Dead, I think. Wrong Side of Dead, and that's out in January, sometime in January 2012. So it's a fair bit off, which is a pity, but I am looking forward to it definitely. I read with the book I got. There's a kind of a sample chapter, the first chapter of the next book in it, which I was surprised with because it's such a long way off. So Dreg City, very good series. Let me know what you think about it. If you'd recommend it, what did you like, what did you not like. But if you know any other series out there that are worth reading, let me know. And thank you very much for watching today. Bye!